Welcome to Everything Sparkle, Saul. It's good to meet you in the flesh because I have your name right here. You signed my little paper, and I appreciate it so much. It's good to be able to thank you for this because this was such an honor. How long have you been with the Chamber of Commerce in Panorama City?
Well, it was established in 2016, and I'm the founder, so I've been in it since the beginning.
You're the founder? So what, before you came around, there was no Chamber of Commerce there?
No, there used to be one from 1959 until 1989. And then in 1989, they shut it down and they became a much larger chamber to cover the entire San Fernando Valley, which is the greater San Fernando Valley Chamber.
Oh, okay.
So multiple chambers got united and they created a massive chamber, which at the time I thought, yeah, maybe it's a good idea. But obviously through the years, the communities continue to grow. And there's a point where it doesn't really make sense anymore. As an example, just Panorama City alone, we got 20,000 businesses and 70,000 residents. So just that alone, of course, it doesn't make sense. It's impossible for any chamber to even consider that they could be it. So even if we were to get another chamber, honestly, I wouldn't be upset because really it is needed, you know? So to say the whole San Fernando Valley, I don't think it really applies anymore because it's quite big. So
and it's actually a little bit further. It's not even, it's kind of part of San Fernando, but it's a little bit more, you know, on the outskirts of San Fernando, right?
No, not at all. We're actually the center. We're the center and officially declared by the government as the heart of the San Fernando Valley.
Really? Gosh, yeah. It goes so fast because, okay, so back in the day when I lived over there, it was like Sylmar, and then it expanded like to go a little bit further out. So Panorama City.
You still got Sylmar, you still got Pacoima, then it's Panorama City. To the other end, you got Sherman Oaks, Studio City, Encino.
Wow. Okay. This is still so fast.
You got 1.7 million people in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, you guys need your own Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. So I believe every community should have at least one Chamber of Commerce. Every single community, and unfortunately, a lot of them still don't have. Believe it or not, Venice doesn't have a Chamber of Commerce. Mission Hills doesn't have a Chamber of Commerce. Arleta doesn't have a Chamber of Commerce, and so many other communities that they still haven't had a chance yet.
So how did you get the ball rolling on this? What made you think, hey, I'm going to take initiative, I'm going to start this? And what changes have you seen since you became the head of this?
Well, it actually began about 12 years ago. I went to high school. During high school, I was an ROTC cadet, so I was a little bit popular because we used to do a lot of community events. We used to be very active in the community. And because of that, they already knew us. And then after that, I went into retail. I used to work for many companies such as Sears, Macy's. I was a district manager for Sears. Wow. So I already had the experience as a manager. I already had the experience as a simply properly dressing and that kind of stuff. So I began to volunteer to try to teach the youth of how to properly wear a tie, how to properly dress in a suit, you know, how to pass an interview, how to basic stuff to at least get a decent job. Because unfortunately, nobody's really was offering that at the time. And then afterwards, I joined the neighborhood council or local neighborhood council. And I was with the neighborhood council for 10 years. I was elected 3 times, and I was with them for 10 years. And my role was precisely the commerce chair. So my job, I was a business representative, an elected business representative. So for 10 years, we worked with the city of LA in creating programs related to the business and to bring new businesses. Panorama City, in a certain point, it was one of the top most luxurious communities in the entire United States. So unfortunately, of course, that changed a lot. And I'm one of the people who I was born, you know, after all that passed. And I always felt like, you know what, as a kid, there wasn't much that I couldn't do. But when I became an adult, I always wanted to do more. I wanted to actually say, you know what, why not if everybody's been there? A lot of people don't know, but even let's say palm trees, people don't know, but palm trees, they go for about $60,000 to $80,000 each. So when you see, let's say, Venice Boulevard full of palm trees, people don't understand, but by the time that when they did that, it was because it was meant to be a really nice neighborhood. It was supposed to be a really nice community. And unfortunately, there was a lot of money invested. And nowadays, you know, even Sherman Oaks has a mess nowadays. And I think it's really sad. So anyhow, when I jumped in with the neighborhood council, that's one of the things that I wanted to do is to actually bring better name brands. And ever since then, we were able to bring Aldi's. We opened the first Walmart neighborhood market, which was the first one in the entire United States. Well, you know, Wingstop, you know, Yogurtland. Those are some of the brands that when I jumped in, we didn't have. And, you know, now we got, what is it, the Gap, you know, it's something that we didn't have in those days. So we feel proud that we actually sat at the table and talked to some of these companies and try to convince them why should they come back and invest a little bit more in our community. to try to beautify it, to try to make it a little bit. But before even my time, I gotta give credit to Richard Arcon, a former council member. He's the one who a lot of people don't know, but he established the plan, where you got the movie theater, where you got the, a bunch of different companies. Even UCLA, they have a UCLA extension in that area. They have living spaces. They have a lot of that, which used to be the old General Motors factory. And then Richard Arcon proposed that. And I don't know if you remember Tom Selleck from the 80s. He was the owner. He was the original owner of the plant. A lot of people don't know that too, but he's the one who put the money so that we can get a decent shopping center with an In-N-Out, with the Starbucks and all of that. And the Starbucks actually used to belong to Magic Johnson. He was one of the investors in the Starbucks right here in Panorama City. So a lot of the celebrities and people from outside actually came in and actually helped us a lot to actually rebuild Panorama City. So that's what we did and accomplished a lot of that through as the neighborhood council, as the commerce committee. And then when we established the chamber, it was for several reasons. Unfortunately, because of city laws, there's a lot of limitations that you have when you're just in a neighborhood council. As an example, we're not allowed to take donations, and we have a very small budget. In fact, at a certain point, my budget was $20 a month, just for you to get an idea. So
wait, you can't take donations? Why can't you take donations? Like even like fundraiser type events, you guys can't do that?
No, when you work for the city, you can't take money because of bribing, situation. So I was in an elected position, and you're not allowed to take any money, period. If you do, practically, you can.
Well, I know that, but you guys can't do fundraisers for like another building to pop up. Or if everybody wanted a Starbucks and there wasn't one, could be like, there's nothing to do that way. Oh wow.
Can't get into money, period. I mean, you got to stay away from the money part. So that's one, not the only, but one, as an example, one of the reasons why we decided that, I did enough already as the neighborhood council and as a chamber. Yes, you're allowed to do donations, fundraisers, and raffles, and all kinds of activities that you can actually generate some revenue. Because back then I used to say, at least coffee. I mean, if you're going to have meetings with executives, with, real high end executives, the least you got to do is provide coffee and donuts or something for the meeting. Yeah. You cannot even afford to have enough coffee for the people who are attending. We have an issue, and I was not allowed to take donations or money. Not even sponsorship. So as the chamber, that completely changes. So that really, we knew that it was necessary to go to the next level, and it was that, to be able to actually have a little bit more distant meetings, with a little bit of something to eat, and some of the companies, they were ready. They wanted to do it. They wanted to help us out, so they jumped in. And the first one was Billy Rollison. He owns the old Montgomery Works, where they're trying to do a whole new project. He donated $10,000 immediately to make sure that we had the permits and the licensings and open the bank account and the whole thing to get started. So he was the money guy. I was the guy doing the work at the office. And we had a couple more people. My best friend, Danilo Guerra, he does everything online, digital marketing, web design, graphic design. And we used to own a company within, and we actually ended up being nominated as the Small Business of the Year at the Senate. And also, once we opened the chamber, we got so much support. Bob Hertzberg actually likes us a lot, Senator Bob Hertzberg. He actually gave us own date in the state of California. I don't know if you know, but I think we are the only chamber in the San Fernando Valley that has their own date. So April 4th was declared the day of the Panorama City Chamber of Commerce in the state of California. So that's one of the big things that they give us. We also belong to other really prestigious institutions, such as VICA. VICA is the Valley Industry and Commerce Association. They're the kind of institution that you don't go to them, they come to you. If they like what you're doing, they'll propose that you should associate, and they'll give you the opportunity for you to be part of it, but they don't really go accepting just anybody. And normally for companies, it's about $8,000 if you want to be a member, $8,000 a year if you want to be a member of some of these institutions. But when you're a chamber, they give it to you as a recognition of excellence and actually doing a pretty good job. So we're proud to say, no, we didn't pay a single dime. We actually were added to their list as one of the chambers that actually excelled in the market. And one of the reasons is we don't focus a lot on money. That's one of the beauties when you get used to not having money, you find ways to get things done without having to always make it all about money. And a lot of the companies, a lot of the business, they already, you say Chamber of Commerce, and they automatically think, oh boy, here we go again. I got to put money. I got to spend money. And that shouldn't be that way. It should be about, I believe a Chamber of Commerce should be a place where you can come in and find solutions for your business, whether you have money or not, period. If you have money, of course, we welcome, we appreciate it, and any help or any sponsorship that they want to do. But we should be able to help any business at any level, regardless, even if they don't have the means, even if they don't have enough. A lot of times, as an example, one lady, she came in and said, hey, Saul, I clean houses. All I do is just clean houses, and I want to start my own business. I say, you know what? Come to the office twice a week, and I'll give you a membership, and we'll use our tools and sources to promote your business. So we're still going to help your business, but we'll probably do a little bit of trade, a little bit of bartering,
I love that. That's amazing. That's so good. You're really, I love what you've done for your community, and you're so involved. You're so hands-on. Anybody can call you. You're so accessible. Someone could say, hey, I clean. And you're like, okay, come here, do this. We'll work it out. You get stuff done. That's amazing.
Correct. And that's how we end up growing. It looks crazy, but even if you call the chamber, the person who does the voice on the phone is a 2-time Grammy winning artist and a professional voiceover. And happened to be my cousin, so she volunteered to do so.
Well, you're still in LA area, so yeah, you got that.
So the same thing, the coffee is donated by 7-Eleven. They pay for coffee, sugar, cream, all.
I love that.
And because they see what we do, we really don't make it about money. We ask if we need something. It's easier for me to pick up the phone. Hey, listen, we're running out of napkins. Do you think you can donate a package of napkins? And they feel more comfortable doing so than actually having to put physical dollars on the table. So a lot of companies, they support us a lot, and we of course we still got to pay rent and bills, but we try to take care of that on our own, and then whatever else we need. And at the end, we end up getting lawyers, accountants, marketing people, digital media. We end up getting so much attention. We actually been in some really major national networks. I already been to. I don't know if you got a chance to see my bio, if you got it. But we've been to so many national level. We never paid a single dollar to do an interview or to actually be featured anywhere, and we end up in some of the national networks because of that. Then we got a call from a couple of even bigger chambers. As an example, we belong to the United States Hispanic Chamber, and which means 7.9 million members, and they cover the entire United States. We belong to the Hispanic Chamber of E-commerce. There's an online chamber, and a lot of people don't know that either, and they got all the major name brands online. They have a chamber online, which is pretty cool. And I happen to know the president. So what we do, the same thing, we trade memberships between many other institutions. We belong to BizFed, which is Los Angeles County Business Federation. The same thing, normally business pay about $8,000 to be a member. But as a chamber, they only charge us like $125 or something like that. So it's amazing. And we can bring 5 people. So we usually bring the top officers to that type of meetings and those type of situations, and we get exposure to the bigger market. So we literally can cover business all the way from local to city to state to national and international. We do world trade as well with a couple of other countries around the globe, and we actually work with the countries around the globe. So there's no limit of what you can do, and that's what we love about the chamber, because really it's composed by the people. The rent, the bills, everything is paid by the same members. We don't get funding. We're not a nonprofit yet. So we actually get cover absolutely everything by the same members, by the people within the chamber.
That is so fascinating. And that's so different than how a lot of other Chamber of Commerces operate. From what you've seen and what people have experienced, they tell you that, right? That you guys have you're doing things differently, like outside the box.
Yeah, and in fact, also one of the newest things that we got, and probably Joe told you a little bit about that, but I believe we also are the only chamber who has a radio show. I host a show called Business This Week, and it's an actual FM radio station. And we have our own show, and that was created precisely to promote some of the business within the chamber. We use it as an incentive, an extra incentive. When they join, we actually do a little bit of marketing for them, or do an interview about their business on our show, and that's just an extra token. And also that radio station, I gotta say hello to Francisco Verdin. Francisco Verdin is he's a mariachi guy. He has his own mariachi. He has done 2 things that are really insane. But the first thing that he did, he established the first mariachi school in the entire United States ever. Because of that, he actually got a call from the White House, and during the Obama administration, he got a medal from President Barack Obama, making it official that he was the first mariachi school ever.
And where is that? Where is that located, the first mariachi school?
It's in Panorama City. He's a resident in Panorama City. So the second thing that he just did is that the radio station, a lot of people don't know, but we have San Fernando Valley FM radio station, which is a community radio station. So it's a nonprofit, and the money came from donors, from people who actually put $20, $30, whatever, and they end up spending about $100,000. You compete with about 250,000 people, and then Congress got to decide whether you should have it or not have it. So even at that moment, they can say no, you lose all the money and you lose all the work that you've done. But luckily, it got approved. So for the past 2 years, the San Fernando Valley actually has a community radio station. So it's called KROJ 101.5 FM. And when at that show, just like you, I already had it online. I had it on social media. And when they opened, they already knew me and say, hey, would you like to actually broadcast your show over, the FM waves? So I just laugh and I would say, of course, and it was actually during the pandemic, which it kept me pretty busy. I record most of my shows just from home. Perhaps that's what you're doing as well. So most of my shows, actually, I just sat in my room and actually, added the music. And we're a full licensed radio station. So we have ASCAP licensing. We can play any kind of music. We can really perform just like any other radio station. So we're very happy, very proud to be able to bring that. And right now, we're hoping to find sponsors for antennas. We are allowed to have 3 antennas and just have 1 right now. So the signal in certain parts is not that great, and it's because we have 1 antenna. But we're allowed to have up to 3 antennas. And if we actually get to have the 3 antennas, we can actually cover the entire San Fernando Valley. When I was saying 1.7 million people will be here, the show. And normal radio stations, they charge between $8,000 and $40,000 a week if you want to put a commercial. So it's not cheap at all. And these antennas are $8,000. So we tell people if they really want to jump in, we'll give them a whole year of advertisement instead of 1 week if they actually donate enough to actually cover, one of these antennas. So that's one of the cool things that we can do. We can really negotiate and work around, something that they won't have. And once the station is completely launched, I'm saying once we have all the tools, because you gotta understand we had to buy literally absolutely everything. Cables, microphones, desk, all of it was paid by the community. So, but once it's completely established, and I mean, when we have the 2 antennas, you're gonna hear it everywhere. You're gonna see it everywhere because it's a full license radio station. So it's approved by Congress. So that's the other historic thing that this gentleman did. So he has done 2 things that he hasn't been done in quite a bit. I believe in the 1950s, it was the last time that we also had a radio station in the San Fernando Valley.
That's incredible. Okay, so I have viewers from all over California watching this show, Central California, Northern California, and a lot in Southern California. So if people want to be involved in the Panorama City Chamber of Commerce, what's some incentive if I have a friend that lives in Santa Monica that's like, I really want to be a part of this, or if I have somebody in Fresno that wants to be a part of this, will you guys? They can kind of like donate, get their Panorama City Chamber of Commerce membership, and then what do they do from there? What do they get? And how do they get notified on events going on and get to go to some of your guys' monthly events that you have? Tell us that.
Well, one of the things that we're doing also that is brand new, we haven't even put it on the page yet, but what we're doing is we're creating kind of like a buffet menu. So we offer a whole bunch of different benefits that they can choose from. So they can choose, let's say, 15 different ones that actually applies better to their business. Because I don't believe in one shoe fits all. So some of the benefits might be good for some, but not for the others. So depending on what kind of business they have, depending on where they're located, it could really vary. So for some people, it might be one thing, and for other people, it might be something else. So what we're creating now is just a list of all the benefits that we can think of that even our own members have provided. As an example, recently, one of the photographers that we know, he said, Saul, as soon as they join, we'll give them a free headshot. It's included. They get a headshot from his studio. So just that alone, he normally charges about $100 just to go to the studio and do a professional headshot.
Right. That's
So it's like the membership actually for individuals, let's say realtors, let's say people that work for a company like, let's say, from America or something like that, it's $100. If they don't have a physical building, brick and building, then they can actually pay $100. So just that alone, it should be quite a benefit just for them. And of course, there comes all the other normal stuff, which is mixers. We do meetings. And if they actually participate a lot more, like I was saying, we even bring them to some of the events that the other institutions do. As an example, we belong to the United Chambers. The United Chambers, every single year, they do the largest mixer in the San Fernando Valley. They get about between 500 and 700 people, to that mixer. They do that at the Budweiser. And also, as an example, they have the Small Business Awards. They do really nice trophies and awards from all over the San Fernando Valley, and they pick one business from each community. So we as the chamber, we get to pick one business a year, not only to be recognized as our small business, but also through the United Chambers. And they can have obviously a little bit more exposure. Like I was saying, the radio, we know it's not cheap either. So just the fact that you can jump in and actually have even a show be broadcast and give you a copy, and you can, tell your friends, hey, my business was, showcased in this specific venue. Could be a little bit of talking. It could be something else that normally other people even pay a lot, even just for a video. Even just to do a commercial. Some of the people, some of my friends are actors. Well, one of the reasons why I know Joe is I also play, film producer. So some of my friends are actors and people in the industry, and they get paid $200-300, an hour just to actually do a commercial. Some of my friends are voiceover and they get paid $500 an hour. And these are some of my friends that actually, by the way, they'll come over and do the commercials for some of the people that we know. I can go to one of my, hey, listen, do me a favor. I got a new business. I don't got a lot of money. Can you cover for them? Can you help them out a little bit with this? So when you work as a team, you can do a lot more. And we definitely believe any amount of money that you put towards the chamber, you get it double by the end of the year. That's my policy practically. You'll be able to get at least double what you put in by the end of the year because of all the services that the other members can provide, because of all the other things that they bring to the table. They'll just say, you know what, don't worry about it. We want to support this business. We want to help them out. So that's how we work. And again, it's because we are not really talking about money. We're talking about services they can offer, even 1 hour with our lawyer. Let's say they need to talk to a lawyer. Okay, I can talk to one of our lawyers and say, hey, listen, they need advice on this and that. That alone should be quite a bit of money. So in the small business is $250, and we believe we can definitely double that and so on. So, but normal business, they pay about between $100 to $250 a year. And one of my friends was saying, so if you go any cheaper,
that's not bad at all. That's really not.
Yeah, my friend was telling me, if you go any cheaper, I'll quit. He's like, nowadays the minimum wage is about $15 an hour. A McDonald's employee as a cashier can pull out $100 in a day. He's like, so we can't go cheaper than 1 day of McDonald's, charging for the whole year. So if anybody has an issue actually paying $100, then perhaps they shouldn't even be in business, quite frankly, if they don't want to invest $100 into their own business. So he makes me laugh, but it actually makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, yes, nowadays, in a single day, you can pull $100 working at McDonald's as a cashier.
Oh, yeah. No, that's very affordable. That's cheaper than I belong to multiple Chamber of Commerces throughout the years. And in Central California, it was like about double what you guys are asking for to belong to that. And I had a weird experience. I mean, this doesn't really apply to you or whatever, but I'm very excited and passionate like you about the community. I know a lot of people. I've interviewed a lot of people all over the different communities. So I was really excited to belong to this particular Chamber of Commerce, like 3-4 hours away from you. I'm not talking about the LA area. And then I was like, I went out. I'm like, I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting my booklets. I'm not getting my invites, my e-invites. I'm not knowing what's going on. I'm not getting all the things I was promised or asked. And then so halfway in, when they asked me for the other half of you paid like $200 for the first half of the year, $200 for the second half of the year, for the other 6 months. So, and it came to for my second payment. That's when they come after me and they ask, like, hey, where's the payment? I said, where's my stuff that I was promised? And they said, oh, whoever signed it, you didn't write down your email address, right? So that's why I haven't been getting everything. And I'm like, okay, well, what are you guys going to do about it? And it was very there was a lot of that going on. So when I hear about you and all you're doing and how accessible you are and that people could just call you and be like, I want to do that. It's like, this is something I want to be a part of. And I think is amazing. And you guys are so above anything I've experienced with any Chamber of Commerce anywhere.
No, and that's what I said. That's why we figure, we don't really limit ourselves just to our community. Because that opens, actually, we had somebody call from Mexico and they say, we're in Merida, Yucatan. He's like, I want to join the chamber. And he was the first one to open my mind to that broad space. I'm like, hey, why would you want to join the Panorama City Chamber of Commerce? If you're all the way in Merida, Yucatan. He said, well, because actually, if you go to downtown LA, they sell a lot of the Mexican products. We are the companies that make those products. We want to skip the middleman, or you could be the middleman. And we'll just send it to you guys, and then you guys can, have these companies or the small businesses purchase those products. And I mean, even let's say salsas from a restaurant, the salt, fish, shrimp, they can ship anything that you can think of, and within 48 hours, which is really crazy. So I don't know if you know, but you know how much money a normal restaurant spends in salsas and the stuff that they put on the table a week?
How much?
Between $8,000 and $10,000. A week, each of those restaurants. So it's an insane business for people actually get into that. So when he brought that up, he's like, oh, you guys could be selling it for the same price, but they customize it. They put the label with the name, with your brand, of your business, instead of just promoting somebody else's name brand. And it would still be the same price. We can still sell it at the same price because it's coming all the way from Mexico. So it's quite interesting. Yeah. So what that did is we don't limit ourselves to simply just Panorama City. Like I was saying, we belong to United Chambers, so we go to the Valley. Because we belong to BizFed, we do it at the county level as well. If they need a training, somebody calls me and say, hey, Saul, can you do a training on a specific subject, all the way in Orange? We really don't care. We go and we show up. We want to put the name really out there for people to know that we exist and that we're active. The whole purpose should be, and that's the reason why I'm in the middle of it. I tell people, if I wanted to make money, I wouldn't be working for a chamber. You go somewhere else if you want to make money. If you want to actually serve and actually help business, then yes, this is the place. So my goal is to help the small business, to help the people who actually need it. And we are blessed to actually get the support from the major companies. So that's the way that it should be. You really charge the corporations. If you're making $2.8 billion or something like that, that's the people you go after and try to pull the money from. But the small business shouldn't have to deal with that. I'm proud to say that I was raised by a single mom and she was a business owner. So I remember clearly every single time she had to pay the rent, she had to pay the bills, every penny, every time she was counting to make sure that she had enough to pay the bills. And I don't want, in my clock, as an adult, I wouldn't want many businesses to have to go through that. If somebody actually wants to come in and cry and say, listen, I don't have enough for the rent, I'm gonna lose my business. I don't care what I have to do, I'll go figure it out and I'll make something happen because I know what that feels like. I know how that is. So my goal and my idea is to actually be able to have enough funds to really help the small business. Recently, we were talking with one of the members, and it's so hard to actually get a startup, to actually start a business because the banks won't let you borrow money because you don't have a background, you really are brand new. So if you have actually who's, let's say 19, 20, and they want to start a business, it's practically impossible. And we thought it was hilarious. They shouldn't be that way. This is the United States, this is how there should be a way that if somebody actually has the will and they can prove that they mean it. As an example, I was telling you, look, if I have a volunteer, let's say we have a kid in high school and they devote 5 years. As an example, my business partner, by the way, he's pretty young. He's only like 25 and he's been volunteering for 10 years. So he has a proven record that for 10 years, he volunteered for the chamber, he volunteered for the neighborhood council. He's been involved in the community. People like that, I think, should be able to actually get along, should be able to say, look, you don't have the years of experience because you were not even born perhaps when you started. He started business at the age of 8.
Wow.
He started actually fixing computers and started his own business. So anyhow, we figured that, there are certain people that actually can prove that they're good for it, but somehow they still don't have a chance to actually be able to get about $3,000-$4,000. Somebody should be able to do that. So part of what we think about actually being able to do is do that, to actually have enough funds in the chamber that if somebody comes in and they can prove that they mean business, that they actually are willing to sacrifice and work for what they're doing, we should be able to help them out. So we always try to find solutions in any situation possible. If they have the heart, the desire, and the willingness to actually be a business owner, I think we can find solutions. I think we can work something out.
Thank you so much for coming on my show, Saul. You've been a great source of information.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. It's a pleasure to meet you finally, at least. Hopefully someday I get to meet you face to face.
For sure.